3, 2, 1. We're there. We're going live. Hello, hello, everyone. How's everybody doing?
Hey, everyone. What up?
Hey, y'all. Chad Turner's Warehouse. Amy's moderating. Amy?
What up, everyone? Welcome, welcome, welcome.
One of our usual, that's a hard word, usual moderators, Michael McEwen, is traveling to SWAT, so he's not going to be here today, but Amy will keep you all going. We do appreciate Michael so much because he always helps keep track of the chat and answer questions and things. All right, everybody, how you doing?
Oh, I was going to say, we did already have some questions in the chat.
We'll get to that one quick sec here. But if you're in the chat, let us know who you are and where you're from. If you're a first timer, let us know you're a first timer. And we will get started here in 2 seconds.
So I was just telling people that next Wednesday we will be traveling to SWAT. So there will be no live stream next Wednesday. But we probably will have some live stream that happens from the event. And there will definitely be lots of videos. So I'm going to do a video walkthrough of the gallery. I'll do a video walkthrough of all of the vendors. And then we have some scheduled demos that we're going to do at our booth while we're at SWAT. And I'm going to post that for everyone. Yeah. And what we can live stream of that, we totally will. So.
Yeah, and I plan on doing a live stream next Wednesday from Buttons. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we planned on doing some videos and live streams from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday over the weekend from our area, because it'll be really cool. Hey, quick shout out to Mike Vasilio. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Mike Vasilio. He sent me this cool blank to check out. It's got that cool wavy pattern. Thanks, Mike. We'll make this into something cool, that's for sure. And then I wanted to show you guys something. These are new blanks that are, now here's the thing, they're live, but don't buy them because next Wednesday, these will go on sale for the SWAT sale. So don't buy them today, wait till next Wednesday. And we have more of these to dye and stabilize. So if the color you want runs out, which we have a lot, but we'll make more. So don't fret if it's whatever, but here, let me show you these. These are Curly Mango. I'll do a few at a time here. Curly Mango, you got red. This is black. And the curl is crazy. You got purple. Everyone seems to love the purple. It's a fan favorite here. And then this one is gold. And that looks, I think this one's the best personally, the gold. And then you got clear. Clear is not bad, don't get me wrong. Green looks really good. And of course, blue. So we have them in 7 colors, if you count clear as a color. They're all stabilized. They're all awesome. These are gonna go on sale next Wednesday. And you're probably like, what are you telling me now for if it's next Wednesday? We won't be here next Wednesday when these go live. So watch for the newsletter. Amy, are you still sending out the newsletter Wednesday morning?
Yeah, Wednesday morning and Sunday.
Wednesday and Sunday, so it'll still be normal. So you'll get a notice that these are up. So, you said you had some questions before we begin?
Yeah, that's what we were just.
Who do we have? Anybody new? Any first timers?
I think we have a full person. Also, everybody can hear us, right? What is the reason I can't hear us?
Mic check, mic check.
I think somebody would say if you can hear us by now.
All right, look who we got. We got Jake, Anita Ball, Weeval, Sydney, Fish and Doodle, Jim Spalding, number 1. Jim, congrats. Mark L, number 3. Leah. Wait, is it Leah or Leah? I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Darwin Benedict, Homer Lux.
Lisa Marie from Poorly Controlled.
Lisa Marie from Poorly Controlled. Why does that sound familiar? Did you show me something from her?
We were looking at her blanks on Instagram.
Cool blanks. All right.
I can't find. There were some new people.
Hey, if you're
but I
new,
can't find it.
if you're new, say it again because we
Sorry.
missed it. A lot of
I'm-
chatting going on. Good stuff. So recapping, we've been doing this for a little while.
Oh, Darwin. Darwin Benedict, first timer from Northeast Colorado.
Darwin, welcome. Good to have you here. On this channel, we do a lot of making of stuff and things, but this last couple weeks we've been doing kit lists or custom pens. This is the one we've been working on. So to catch everybody up or recap, last week on Turner's TV, that's what they would say on TV, right? This is one of our blanks. This is a top choice kaleidoscope. Killer blank, you're gonna see here in a minute when we turn it. Last week and the week before we did the cap. We drilled and threaded the internal threads, M13. We did the body, drilled and did the internal threads, M10, M13 on the outside. Last week we made the section and we went for black, M10, and it goes into the body. And as you can see, it doesn't fit because this week we are gonna turn all these down into a shape that we like for a pen.
And that's awesome because Charles is here, CAS Pens, and he is the one who does the kaleidoscopes for us.
Charles Stanley.
He said, I'm new.
Oh, he's new first,
And then Homer Lex called him out and was like, you're not new. He's not.
first timer, huh,
He
Charles?
says, I'm new to someone.
So here's a different nib section, so you can see how this will go together. Oh wait, let me make sure I drilled this cap deep enough. I don't want to smush a nib. So I mean, theoretically, it's a pen already. Once you turn the section, it could be a big blocky square pen. It kind of looks cool, but this is going to look really good when we turn it down. So before we get going, any questions on what we have already done? I'll give that a sec to go through while I grab some water.
Previously on Turner's TV.
That's
Nice
right.
one. Also, earlier, Homer Lex was like, Michael McEwen is like the top riffraff wrangler. I don't know.
riffraff wrangler. If Myra shows up, we gotta keep an eye on her because Michael can keep her wrangled.
David Goodwin, Patrick from Colorado,
Awesome.
Chris, Ryan,
Okay, this is pretty exciting for us because now we're going to use the new Mandrels. Were there any questions from last week or the week before? Probably not. Okay, so here's the new cap mandrel. Here's the new body mandrel. Let me show these on the camera actually. Cap, body, and section. So how this will work is when we're working on the cap, it'll go on the mandrel nicely. When we're working on the body, it'll go on the body mandrel nicely.
Carrie says she's new too, just like Charles.
And, yeah, right. And the section, we'll thread that on there. And real quick, I wanted to talk about one thing. So, these mandrels, this is, just so everybody knows a little behind the scenes, when you make a mandrel, you have to have a way to hold it. And so what we did is, we used the stock that made sense for the mandrel size. So M14 and M15 use a 3/4 stock here to hold the mandrel because you needed a bigger bar. Now the M13, 12, and 11 all use 5/8 here, which is nice. But what you're going to see is this step here in front of it. Right here. So you have the cap threads on. Oh, we're not focusing. The cap thread's on, and then you have this step, which you can make your own bushings to go on here. We were talking about it yesterday. If you made a pen where you want to make the same size every time, you can measure, but you could also make a slip fit guide to go over this step that you could then use as like a pen bushing, so to speak, for like a traditional pen, to where you could size it the same every time. And you can do that on any of these. They have that step for that ability. So if you want to do that, that's something you could do. Amy, do you have something?
Carrie joined the chat. She said she's new, and then Brian was like, "Is she still in a shipping box?" And then she said she's watching from inside.
Yeah, the shipping crate was pretty good.
Jake Thompson says he's also new.
Jake Thompson, who's that? How did you remember his name?
You mean the Saturday morning cartoons guy?
The Saturday cartoons guy person. Jake, that kept me laughing for days. I was laughing pretty good.
I was crying. I was laughing so hard. Can you tell us what is in your tailstock? Skip is asking. What is the cone that's in the tailstock?
Oh boy. Good questions. So, the question is, what's in my tailstock? This is a live center, but this is actually this is an Axminster live center. Now we have recently started carrying Axminster, and we've done a poor job of letting you guys know because we've just been so busy we haven't even had time to do like clips or talk about it. But Axminster stuff, amazing quality, really, really good stuff, and everything we carry is made in England. So there's no Chinese imported stuff. It's all English made in their factory. This is a cool little thing. Let me see if this camera will show it. Here, I'll move it closer. So this is a live center, but you can replace this front. So I have in here a cone, but there's also other stuff like there's a standard point. There's a cone point right here, and it goes in there. And what you see this extra little ring for, there's actually a Tommy bar that you can put in here, but I'll just do it by hand. When you get this seated in here, and it's really hard because you've been putting a lot of pressure on it, you move this collar out, and it pops it loose, and then you can pull it out and switch it. And today I'm going to use this cone because I'll show you why here in just a sec. But to answer your question, it's just a live center, but it's sweet and it comes with a bunch of inserts. It's kind of like the Falcon system I always use, but it has different inserts. It has this little cone, it has the ring center, which is really useful for what we're doing here. And then of course it has like the normal live center cone. So good question. I would have talked about that at some point, so no big deal. Yes, Amy?
Just real quick, Frederick is asking, do you have a starter kit for someone that's new to making these types of pens? And I was kind of saying in the chat that we have a cheat sheet and a PDF from Jim Hines that I can send. We don't have like a full complete starter set because you might already have some of the stuff. Like you might already have a college chuck, and you might already have drill bits. So we have lists that help you know what to get started.
So yeah, what Amy was saying is we have our drill guide. So on this side it's a drill guide. On the back, it's all the sizes and drills for custom pen making that we use here. This works with our Mandrels. And then we also have this cheat sheet, and we're going to have these for every size combination of pen. So keep in mind what we're making today in the last couple videos is an M13 cap and body, M10 section internal threads, and a Yo06 nib housing. So that's what this cheat sheet is for, and if you want it, Amy can email it to you. And what it shows you is all the different tools, what size drill bits you need if it needs a drill, what size tenon if it needs a tenon, how we hold them. So it even says like, use a 5/8 collet. Now, there is some variable there because if you don't have a collet, you can use something else. But this is just what we're showing, so that's what we're doing. So Amy can email these to you. The drill chart, they're on our site for $1, but I'm always happy to give them to you if you mention on an order, or if you want to pay the $1 and help us out to cover the cost of them, that's what they cost. Yes.
Also, Patrick says, with the new Mandrels, any reason why you choose to do the step version? Jim told us that, Jim from Heinz Pen says that was one of the things in discussion.
Well, so, yeah, I mean, there's a reason. So, you can make these Mandrels, 100 different ways. We have to make them the best for the most people, and this is the most straightforward and best for people. Now, the way this is the cap, for example. I drill a little bit further than this. So what my goal here was to give you a ton of support for your cap, because you don't want your cap moving. So I wanted to give you a ton of support, but you can still step drill it and drill a slightly smaller hole a little further if you want. You can also modify this. You could also put this on a metal lathe and step this down. But most people, when they start, and most people in that regard for the most time, don't step drill. Some do, some don't. So it's hard to make something for everybody when it's like customized, so to speak. So yes, you can make stepped mandrels and you can use them. You could even customize this one. But this is a real, it's kind of like the minimum length that you want for a long shank here, but not too long. So if we had made this, you know, way longer, even 10 millimeters longer, that would start making your cap too big. As it is, this would be for a shorter section, and you still have about 10 millimeters that you can step drill, if that makes sense, with this mandrel. So I hope that makes sense, that this is a long shank for support, but it's about as short as I could make it and still be a long supportive shank. Because when you start making them stubby, then the cap will wobble on your mandrel, and you don't want that. So that's a good question, but it's a hard answer because, you know, when we're machining these, we have to be able to machine a lot of them in a row at the same speed and the same size. So it's like we kind of have to take out some of the variables. But I guarantee you, if you're a custom maker, you'll use this a lot. And even if you don't modify it, you can still step your inside of your cap if you want.
How long is the threaded section?
Yes, so that's a good question. And this is something we're going to talk about. We'll talk about it now. So the threaded section on the cap mandrel is, whoops, millimeters, please, is about 9 millimeters. Now, that being said, I personally like less threads on the body for the cap. I like less than that. So what I plan on doing is making a 13 threaded spacer. I'm gonna tap it like I would a cap, and I'll cut it exactly where I like to have my distance of threads, and I will thread that onto my mandrel as a stop. Because you don't necessarily want open threads like this. So like if this stopped here, let me zoom in. If this stopped here and I had these open threads, when I'm turning the cap, if I have a catch, what'll happen is I'll stop this and the mandrel will keep spinning, threading in, as you see. And if you don't have threads cut and it forces it in, your chances are you're gonna crack your blank are pretty high. So essentially it doesn't hurt to have threads exposed in theory, but if you have a little catch and stop your piece with your tool, then it's gonna keep, because the mandrel's driving, remember, it's gonna drive that in there and essentially try to tap more threads, and it's gonna crack, it's gonna split it open, because these aren't tapping mandrels, they're just threads. So that's why, personally, since I like just a couple of threads, I'm gonna put a spacer on here, because I'm still gonna use this mandrel. I'm gonna put a little spacer for a couple millimeters worth, and that way I can stop my cap, you know, halfway. Does that make sense? And that's where you can customize things to kind of fit what you like.
Like when McEwen popped his head in for a minute, he's like,
Michael McEwen.
Travel. He said he just finished lunch and he's heading into the mountains with no cell signal.
Are you driving, Michael?
So, awesome that we got the pop in from Michael today.
Good to see you.
1,000 riffraff points in it.
He already has riffraff loaded.
Yeah,
All right. Let's load this up, and we're going to put this in the chuck. So we are using a collet chuck. It's threaded onto the lathe. This is a big overkill lathe for this task, but I got to be honest, this is the first like custom I've made on this. I've been making parts in between just to like play with it, and I really kind of like it because it's so big and heavy. One thing I love is the distance the quill comes out. I'm trying to think. The throw, man, it's like forever on this thing. It's like 4 or 5 inches. And this thing weighs like 80 pounds. So I have to be careful. The other day I slid it and I slid it into the piece and just destroyed it because it's got so much weight behind it.
Yeah.
So it is overkill, but it's awesome.
Do you know off the top of your head
pitches? Or the red size?
Just the Bryce said you're threading for YOLO knits. What is the threading for box?
Box 6 is a 7.9 by 0.6 tap, which, oh, I should mention that if you guys are looking for this stuff. We just got in YOLO 6 in fine, medium, and broad. We were out of all of them. We just got them in like an hour and a half ago. Those are in stock. Our taps from Tapco that are made in the USA, M13s shipped this morning, so we'll have them in a few days. M13 Captain Body, YOLO 6, and Box 6 taps are on the way. So we'll have all that stuff restocked in a few days. So, boom. All right, let's talk about this. This is a collet chuck. It's my recommended way, but you can do whatever you want. Make sure your collet is set in the nut. So what you want is, see how the collet, well, it kind of falls out. See how the collet has this ring? You want it to snap in. Now this one is pretty worn. It doesn't snap in well. But I want it flush up here. I don't want a big space like that. So when I put this in, I'm gonna make sure it's out. There we go. Now I'm nice and flat here. What should we do first? The body?
Yeah.
Let's do the body first. So I'm going to put my mandrel in. One thing that I have a real bad habit about, and I'm trying to break myself, is I always tighten this by hand. And it works most of the time, but probably not really. Because keep in mind, a collet, so collets that are measured in millimeters have a range, right? 15 to 16, 16 to 17. And what that is that's the expansion, 1 millimeter. And by doing that, I'm assuming that I can compress that 1 millimeter of expansion. Probably on some collets I can if they're wore out or they're weaker or whatever, but probably not all the way on most. And I think that's caused me problems in the past where I had movement and I didn't know it. So I'm gonna start using my wrenches and locking the collet up. I think it's a better habit. Okay. Now, let's see. What we're gonna do, oh, one thing I forgot to do, is I wanna mark this body because it's awful long right now. So I wanna mark it where I drilled, and I think that's 79 millimeters. So I'm gonna mark it out here. And I'm actually going to go a little past it, and this is where I want the end of my pen to be. Not the end of my hole, but the end of my pen. And I do want to give a little public service announcement here. I opted to buy fake Sharpies on Amazon.
Oh my gosh.
They're called...
Do not buy them. They're the worst. They smell
Lazgol.
like
Lazgol. Lazgol. First of all, they're terrible. They hardly mark stuff like they should. So that's beside the point. But the main thing is, they smell like horrible fish. Every time you open it, for the first couple days, I was like, I would be right, I'm like, where is that fish smell coming from? And then one day I was like, oh! And now we all know exactly where it is. These things suck. Do not buy the cheap. Go for the Sharpies. Spend the extra $2 or whatever it is. Okay, back to it. A lot of things here. All right, now, this is one of those things where I was saying, like, this is heavy. If I get this line and I run into this, I'm probably going to ruin my threads, crack the body. So I want to be careful not to. So I'm going to get close, and I'm going to lock it down.
Jim Thompson says not like good fish.
Not good fish, horrible
not
fish.
Like good fish. Like,
we'll bring you some, Jake.
like
I'll bring you all I can find.
No, I specifically hunted down Sharpies to put in the crates for SWAT because I was like, you can't have people being like, is that you that smells like that?
Yeah.
Like, it's real bad.
Yep. All right, so the reason I'm using this cone is I could put a live center up here. Oh, here, look. Oh, wait, I'm not threaded on. No wonder it's moving. I'm like, look at all that movement. Okay. I could put a live center on, but what you'll find with resin in this manner where you have it threaded on in a live center is it'll be tight for a sec, and you'll be turning and you'll start to get rattled. And you'll look at your live center and it won't be moving. And you constantly have to keep tightening your live center. Now, one thing you can do to combat that is use one of these range centers, and that helps a ton. But I found even with these over time, because we're going to take our time here, the little point that's in the ring will start to, the body will try to wear, and it'll just start to make the hole a little bigger, start to loosen up. So by using this cupped live center, which is what this is, when I range it up here, and I'll go overhead again, so you can see I have a little movement if I jiggle it. When I get this up here close, I mean, it's like a rock. We were laughing the other day, we were hitting this. We could not move it, it's so solid. Now, one thing I did notice about this lathe, I kept getting loose on my tail set. I was like, what is the problem? And whenever I would stop and the handle would be up here, it's so heavy, this thing is like solid, it spins my weight down. So sometimes I'd be back here and I'd let go, and I'd go to tighten it up, and it swung all the way around. So I'm having to watch this thing, which I guess that's a good problem. But now I'm tightening it up, holding that and locking it so that it doesn't move. So just a funny like observation of the weight of the handle. Kind of fun. All right, so there's our body. Here's our line. You can see my live center spinning. Here's my line. We're gonna go ahead and draw that all the way around. Stinky fish. Oh, don't let your tool rest touch your leg. So again, this is the end of the pen, not the end of the hole, but you want to designate that. So I'll show you what I like to do. We're going to crank this up. I'm going to grab my little blade parting tool. Probably the parting tool I use the most. I'm just going to put a little fresh edge on it. Because why would I not, right? And I'm going to come in here and now watch when I introduce this parting tool. Hello, parting tool. This is blank. My blank does not move at all. Well, because this was not set, you can see it's pushing in. Because I switched those back and forth. I did exactly what I said. I let go of the handle. Funny, that's like, yeah, I got a lot of that. Need my condom bars. So what's happening is the centrifugal force is spinning this release collar forward and pushing on the cone, which is pretty funny. Okay, there we go. Hopefully you can see that. So now I'm going to hold the thing while I lock it. And now back to parting. Now I'm not parting all the way. I'm only parting down like a quarter, because what I want is when I shape this, I want to have that line that I can still see. If I just leave the marker, it'll be gone in 2 seconds. Now I like to give this a little pinch, see if this stops, so it's not. Now, just like any pen, I'm going to turn this up real fast. That's 3,200, that should be fast enough, 3,300. Now you can shape this however you want. The thing with these customs is there's no bushings to follow or mandatory shapes, so you can make them thin, thick, wavy, straight, whatever you want. I'm looking at this one, and these are the M13 threads. I don't love a big step from the body to the threads personally. I like it to be either a little smoother or a little smaller step. So we're going to take this down quite a bit, and we could actually measure this and see how big it is. I mean, it's almost 18 millimeters around here, and this is 13, so we can take off 2.5 and still be right there. We might not take off that much, but we'll take off some. You got a question? Or you just, okay.
For my own break, we have this light centers and stuff, and I was gonna look, and I was like,
So I think we do, but we got so much. So Amy just said she was looking to see if we have this in stock. I think we do, but we literally got so much Axminster stuff in our shipment that I'm not totally sure yet because we have so much stuff we're putting in and going through. We do have a ton of cool live centers. One of the other ones I use all the time is this one, which I know we have in stock. This is just a live center with the circle point. So it's got a circle with a little tiny point. But these are UK made double bearing live centers. They're awesome. I started using this on the metal lathe first, and now I've been using it on this a bunch. But it's made for wood lathe. That's what it's for. If we don't have these in stock at the moment, we will very soon. So this is just like any other pen turning. You can shape it however you want. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my power cap just because it's so dusty.
And then while you're putting that on, I'm just gonna, people have been asking about the cheat sheet. I totally will send it to you. I pinned my email to the top of the chat. And we are gonna post it on the website, but we just need to modify it one more time to take prices off of it. It's like prices a lot. So we're gonna take a couple months to do that. We'll try and get it up on the
Yep.
It's just been really busy
Totally.
for different spots. So. But I can shoot it over to you. So on it, you know.
Nice and flaky.
Cheat sheet really helped me a lot, I think. Because I've watched that videos a lot of times, and like, I kind of know it, but then the cheat sheet really helps me like lock it in. Oh, earlier somebody asked a question and I missed it, but then now it's jogging at me.
A lot of
Over
squeal.
again.
Yeah.
Will the cheat sheet help people if they want to do like a roller ball section? So it
Yeah.
will, to a point, just, we can just modify it out for doing roller ball sections in the top. We have a video on that already. So we did last I totally get that, Ralph.
3-0.
It's, you gotta have a nice, you gotta have a nice.
What's up?
Oh, I was just telling Ralph the other day, he said, I'd like to find these for all the cheap cartridge styles that come with the print kit. I replaced them with nice cartridges. And he asked perfectly fine, I just love it.
Yeah.
People were telling me I'm not alone.
So I've got it a little bigger here, sloping a little to the end. That's kind of how we're going to do this one.
Hey, Chris.
So I think that squeal is the blank spinning inside the live center. I didn't check to make sure that the blank was perfectly level. So if it's got a high spot, it might squeal. So let's see how big our cap is. Not our cap, but our front here. We started at 18. Oh, you guys are going to love this blank. We're down to 16.3. So I think we need to come off a little more. What's up, Amy?
Question from Jim. Is there a way to get the same taper on the cap and body so that they look the same?
Well, that's a good question. And I mean, I'm sure there must be like a way to where you can repeat. Other than like making yourself a template that you can hold up, I don't know on a wood lathe because it's all freehand. So I'm sure with practice you can get it really close, but I don't know the answer to that. I'm not necessarily trying to match them. I am going to slope this one down, and I am going to slope the cap from the center the other way, but I'm not too worried if the taper matches, but I just want it to look good. But I'll put them on, and if I need to take off a little more or whatever, I can.
And
Good
then
question.
John was sharing that like Reese also has a really good video of making a roller coaster.
Oh, good.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, Reese has been making some great videos. I would check them out for sure.
Mark from Tucson says it looks great, you haven't even polished it yet.
This color, this kaleidoscope is so cool. I'm going to be making a lot of these out of kaleidoscope. And we do have some new long kitless blanks coming. Obviously you can use them for anything. This thing's really squealing. But we're probably going to only pour them in kitless size because of ease of mixing that length and things. Okay, so let's take this off a little bit more. So one thing you don't want to do is go through your bottom here and push this over, because what will happen is it'll all get jammed up and it'll almost always break your part off your flue. So I want to get close, and then I'm going to take the pressure off of this. But yeah, actually I think I can probably make it. So I'm just going to support it with my hand.
Okay, we got a couple questions, Chad.
Okay.
Bantam says, why do pen turners use scrapers more than spindle gadgets?
Well, I mean, on pen turning, I think a scraper is easier, because I love spindle gouge. But I think for such small stuff, like, I don't know, it's just, I think it's better, easier, and I can keep a cleaner surface, more flat. But you could certainly do all of this with a spindle gouge if you wanted to.
And then Alvaro has a question.
Yep.
I have the Falcon Live Center kit. Is it normal for it to get warm or a little bit warm? Like not too hot to the touch,
Yeah.
a little bit warm after you've been turning for a while?
Yeah, there's 2 sets of bearings in the Falcon, so it'll get warm if you turn like, I've turned on it like 6 hours once and it was like hot. It'll get warm. Now I will say they do get better over time because the bearings start to seep, and they do get better, but hot and warm are pretty normal on a lot of live centers. Like this one is warm to the touch, I wouldn't call it hot. But it's also 75 or 6 in here, which is insane. So everything feels warm compared. All right, good questions. So now that I've got this cut off, I still have that little nub from where I just separated. Let me see if we can see it here. Turn this off. I don't know that we can see it. You can see the little white dot. So that's the little nub from where I parted. So I'm going to bring this in, and I'm only going to push my, this is a negative rake square. I'm only going to push it towards the headstock. If I try to cut across, I'm going to flex, and I'll hold it this way. I'm going to flex the body of the pen like this. So I'm only going to push on it. That way I'm not pushing the body around, I'm pushing into the pressure, or into the head. So I'm just cutting off that little nub. And if I wanted to shape the end, this is where I do it. I'm not going to do any shaping because I kind of tapered this from here to here. So that one's going to be good. Okay, so this one is shaped. We'll come back and polish all at once because I don't want to get the water and everything out multiple times. So here's this blank. Hopefully the camera will pick up the colors. When you see this polished, it's insane. This is a great blank to leave matte, but obviously you'd still want to sand it and then leave it matte. But this one is good. All right, so there's that one. My cap. Oh, here we can kind of test this to see just what the difference is from the blank, which wasn't a huge one. It was an 18 mil. blank to the now unturned cap, the body to the unturned cap. So see, it's still quite a lot. I'll take this down quite a bit, and I'm just going to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to go from here and taper it down to this end. Keeping in mind, I got to look where my hole is, and I got to keep in mind that I drilled a larger hole in this one, so I can't taper it as hard or as far. This one's 55, so I can put it on the mandrel now. So see, same collet, 5/8. Lock it down, and get in the habit. Come on. Alrighty. Now this one goes all the way up, so that's no problem. Get out my fish marker.
Hey, Marquetta just joined the chat.
Hey, I know her. So 55. So there's my hole. I'm going to go a tiny bit past it. So I don't have a lot of room on this one. At the end here, you can see, oh, no, you can't. You can see my line is pretty close to the end. So that's okay. So what I'm going to do is actually switch to that other center I was talking about. This is the cone point center. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's under Axminster Live Centers on our website. And I've got a ton of room with this long quill, so I'm going to crank this out. Now, here's a great question for the group. We were talking about this yesterday. Am I better, and I don't know the answer to this, am I better to turn it on and then crank up my live center, or am I better to put my live center on and then turn it on? I don't know if there's a difference. I don't know what the difference would be, or could be, but we were discussing that in here, and we came up to the answer, we don't know.
Robin says, I know Marquetta too.
Oh, he does? How does he know?
Also, speaking of exciting times, a couple things, because Marquetta and Roman are the members of the hoodies, and they have their upside. I get their website up pretty exciting.
I've heard of that book, so.
We also are going to be hearing lately, and Marquetta's going to be hanging out with us at the Rocky Mountain Show, so all very exciting things. So congrats
And they'll be a
guys.
SWAT. They're like all over the place. Alright, let's turn this down. The nice thing is I can see, on this end, I can see my cap size. So I can turn it right down to what I like. Then remember I'm tapering.
Later, Chris.
So I wanted to take off around this one. Now I'm going to taper all this down. Get that out of my way. I mean, this is the fun part. The tricky part. Okay, see my live center stop turning or slowing. So now I need to loosen it, snug it up again, just barely, and then tighten it down. Because what had happened is that cone was not all the way up to my material, so that point was still digging in. Alright, I got a pretty fun taper there. Looks like quite a lot. Let's see what we're measurement wise. We're 16.8. So we're going to come down a little more. So I'm a lot less on this end. It's really tapered. But I just wanted this to not be so bulky. And I got a little swell in the middle here I don't love. Let me take that out. And I think that looks pretty good. I can sand the rest. So I'm still snug. I'm going to cut this down a little more. And then when I get close, I take this back and get it out of here. And then I'm just going to use my hand for support. You wouldn't want to do that for anything heavy or big, but a little tiny pin button falling off is no big deal. Like I made a line. Let's go to this one. We'll do the same thing on this end. I'm going to push into it. And I'm going to get rid of that little nub. And then you can see I came across there just a tiny bit. And all my pressure is, remember, going that way. But I was able to kind of clean up that whole end with that little bit of pressure. All right. Fun stuff.
I was asking Jake when he was going to get to Waco, and
Probably Thursday afternoon.
he did say Thursday afternoon. But he said, I've been setting up the practice booth, and we did a live show practice yesterday.
Practice,
Like,
dude.
a live show practice?
Jake, you gotta just go for it, man. Be a little more spontaneous.
And then
Don't
he
be
said-
practicing.
Then a live show practice. Wait. And then I'm like, I don't even know.
So that's how my pen is gonna look. Shape-wise, what do you guys think? Looks pretty good. You could always, like, if you were like, oh, it's too thick or thin, you could always put one back on there and turn it. And then remember, this is a triple lead, so it's gonna have 3 stop, 3 start points. If I can find them. There you
That blank was so good.
go. It'll look even better once I sand. Oh, there we go. So it lines up. I don't know if you can tell, but it lines up perfectly. Matches from side to side. So once we polish this thing in a couple of minutes, you're gonna love it. Now we're on to the section. So if you remember last week, we made a black section instead of, we thought it'd be cool because if it was all kaleidoscope, that'd be kind of tough. Not tough, but kind of too much maybe. Go this way. See, I don't use these a lot, so I'm not familiar with quickly putting the wrenches on it. I have to think about it still. All right, switching out my collet for a 1/2 inch. Oh, no wonder. I went to get my 1/2 inch collet, but I didn't have a 1/2 inch item in my hand. I had a 5/8.
Rob says, wow, nice alignment on this writing.
Where did I put mine? I literally just have this section in my hand. Oh, there it is.
Mark
on
says,
top of
so
the
you
blade.
like flat end versus rounded?
No, not necessarily that I like it. That's just how this one is. I kind of like the end to have a little shape to it, but it would really depend on the color and the style. If it's just resin or if it's got other elements, you know, you may want a certain shape for a cap with a clip. So there's a lot of variables. Remember, this is one of many ways to do things. So I'm going to take my section off the mandrel while I do this because it's a dangerous game to be putting in a mandrel with the section because that's a good way to crack it or break it. And most of these things I tell you are because I did it. Because I broke many sections. Sections are probably the thing you'll hate the most at first because they're a lot of work and they can break easy when you're not paying attention or not turning. But once you do them a few times, it's no big deal. All right, now I need a regular live center because this Mandrel is super cool because it features a 60-degree cone on the end. I got one right here. This is center. I think it's good. It's a little clunky, but it'll work. Okay. So when I bring this up, can you see it? Maybe not. I might be in the way now. There's a point in there, or a cone, and I'm going to put the live center into it. Oh, and that's awesome. So if you watched last week, you remember my centers didn't match up, and I hadn't even thought about it because it's a new lathe, and I had only turned a couple bowls on it. Days ago after, I was like, I did that quick on the live stream, I should probably check, and I was able to get it a hair more perfect. It was really close though. So it's really cool that I just put my point in there and it went right in the center perfectly. So good stuff.
David asked, just curious, have you ever made a hybrid kitless pin, and how did it look?
Yeah, absolutely. It looks awesome. Now the trick is, so hybrids, combination materials like 4-dye or things that don't hold threads well. Sometimes you have to use sleeves or make parts that can go in them. What was I thinking of just now when he said that? Like if you did a hybrid and you had where your threads were going to be was wood and resin, you wouldn't want that. One of them is going to degrade faster than the other, and it'll not serve you well. So you'd want to put a sleeve inside of the cap or the body, whatever, to put your threads in. So it's a good material that's even. It's not good to have it mixed. Oh, I know what it was. I did a choya kitless, and it was funny because I cast the choya like we always do it, and right at the end I had like 3/8 of an inch of the color that I casted in that went beyond the choya, and I was like, perfect. So I used that for my thread area, and I put a ornamental ring, and then my threads were just in resin, and then the choya started right next to it. So it's kind of cool. You can do it, of course. It works really well. Kind of all this stuff will work well if you figure out how you can pull it off.
Yeah.
Which is part of the fun.
And Reese is in the chat. He does a lot of hybrids.
Yeah.
And he does them with a resin. You should go, if you're interested in them, you should go look at his Instagram.
All right, so I'm gonna do. Sorry. I'm gonna do this, and what I'm gonna do first is I've got my negative rate. I'm gonna take my blank down a little bit because I want it to be even. I don't want there to be any like humps or whatever in the material from the outside that I wasn't counting on. And also, like, I can use my mandrel as kind of my eyeball of how far I want to go for this. Oh, what are we doing here? So it's trying to thread on me. Oh, there it goes. This black, I think it was just black resin. It's kind of acting like ebonite, but it's not. Get that off of there. Brush. So remember, I've got like all these fragile little spots here, the fragile threads inside. Now, one thing I kind of want to pay attention to, and we'll look here, is I don't want this to be drastically under, and it can't be drastically over size of these threads, right? Like it has to be smaller to where my cap can fit over it, but I also don't want it like way under. I don't have a whole lot of room to wiggle with here. So let's stop this. And we know that we've got M13 threads. We can just verify 13. So if I measure this, it's currently 13.9. So I mean, I barely have to take any more off right here for it to match up pretty close. So let me do that, and I'll try to pay attention. And this is where it'd be kind of cool to like have little You could thread on a bushing on your M10 and on the front to kind of give you a guide for your size. So I need my cap and mill. And if I know that this will go in the back, if I'm level across the front, it'll go in the front too. But if the front is flared out, it will not. Now one thing I can do too, I like a little, I don't know if curve is the right word, a little sway in the middle. So we'll do that here. I think we're pretty close on the I like a little width at the front. And I'll clean all this up with the sandpaper, of course. Get that out of the way so you can see. Actually, a round carbide would be a little easier for that part. And you put a little hard line. There's my little hard line. I'll smooth that out with the sandpaper. You can kind of see what I'm going for, hopefully. I'm trying to get my back where I'm 13. I got a little dip here, which I like. I got a little hard line at the front. I'll round those over with the sandpaper. But let's do a thing here. We're going to pull this back. Oh, yeah. And we kind of just want to test fit this to our whole pen here. I'm going to back this off. And remember, these are tiny little threads. So I want to make sure, I can already tell, I think I'm a little still big up here. So I don't think it's going to go in the cap, but that's okay, we'll test it. Okay, so I'm a little big on the back end, so I'm just at the threads. Let's see, that won't fit in. So now I know where I'm at, I can put it back on and turn it a little more. Once you do a couple, if you did 2 of these in a row or 3, you'd probably be just fine on size and shape because you get kind of a feel for it. This is the first section I made in a while, probably at least 2 months, maybe. I don't know. I've been making a lot of caps and bodies for testing stuff, but I haven't been doing a lot of sections.
It's good.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. So I gotta take that down. Oh, you see that thread on me? It moved it forward a little bit. Because I'm not all the way to the front. I didn't drill that enough. Okay. So I just took away my hard line. I need to take off a little more. Now I'm going to get my dip back. Did I like that? Clear that so I can see it. I'm not even close to the front. Give myself a little line again. Cut up to it. And you certainly don't have to do that. That's just a little thing that I like. I think it looks good.
Harry says, do it, lady.
Do it, lady.
And then Dances says, it's amazing how such small differences in the section can make big differences in the feel of the pen.
Oh, totally right. All right, so now I'm 12 points here. I think that'll fit, but we're gonna test it to be sure.
John asked, what is the purpose of the hollow line?
Just the look. No functional purpose. I just like a little change from the grip to the front.
And then Jim says, I like putting ridge on the finger intersection with the parting tool, but it's very tough to polish the vertical part. Tips.
Yeah.
Give me tips.
Say it one more time. The finger end.
Yeah, I like to put a ridge on the finger intersection with the parting tool. It's very tough to polish. Give me tips.
Yeah, I mean, I would just fold the paper and like try to get in there. But I don't have any tips per se. So we're good on the threads, but we're still a little big here. And you could. It's funny. It looks obvious now, right here, but when I had it on the mandrel, it looked like it was the same size, but it clearly is too big. So let's do this one more time. It should be good. And then we get to polish.
He says, yeah, a 1 millimeter difference in the section length would be
Huge.
huge.
Okay. So we're gonna actually do this one without the secondary. Oh, I was on the wrong thing. We'll do it without this and see how it works, because no, we shouldn't do that. That was just for the sake of seeing what happened. But there's no positive that would come from it. I might get a little flex, and that would be not necessary or needed. So why should I do that? I shouldn't. Okay, so I'm gonna try to cut this down.
Earl says, could you use yarn to polish in the groove? What's the precious metals?
I don't know, maybe.
Huh. That's awesome. Glad you were okay.
Now, of course, I could just measure, and rather than taking it on and off, but what would be the fun in that? Okay. I do believe we are good. Now, let me move some of this stuff out of the way. I can turn off the power cap. I'm done power capping. Some dust on there, loose. Now, I don't have to take this all the way off to test the cap the last time here. I know I'm good on my threads. It can go in reverse. Clearly it fits, so we're good. So we're gonna leave this guy on here, and we're gonna start polishing. This is gonna polish real easy, but there are a couple of things I'll tell you about along the way if you want. Dust off here. I just want to get the stuff that's up high that will fall in my water. I would normally like to blow this all off and have it clean before I start polishing. I would wait till I do several, but that doesn't make for good live stream. I don't think. Maybe it does. Okay. Lathe buddy. The lathe buddy almost matches my lathe color. How great is that? So, I don't actually need the live center for polishing, so I'm going to keep it out of the way for the camera's sake.
Hey, John asked, where did you get those collet chucks?
Well, usually they come with a collet. You get at least one, because most only use one. I don't know where I got those. I've had them for years. But I've got like 3 different kinds, because they've come with different collets we've used over the years. A lot of them are fixed, which I actually prefer the fixed one versus, we grabbed any that red handle right under the metal lathe. The fixed versus this folding thing, I don't like this at all. That's probably why I haven't used it. I much prefer this one, and these are just common. You can get them anywhere. ER32 collet, because this is always the same for the ER32 collet nut. And then you don't have to worry about it flopping around when you go to use it. So I prefer that one, but I don't know where I got those, but you can get them anywhere. All right, I got water. This is going to be very similar to how we do any other polishing of pens or pen parts. I'm going to start with, I believe this is 800 because I already have it cut. And oh, for the space, good call. Yeah, I got a lot of extra space here to cover up. I'm going to turn the lathe down probably like 800. And I'm going to do a couple things. If you can see, let me stop this. So this section has a lot of different areas, so to speak. I've got this front, and then I made that little line just for my own whatever. And then when you go to the threads, I've got space at the end and space behind the threads. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. So what I want to try to do,
Hi Larry, have a good night.
I'm going to try to sand this little space without hitting my threads. Right there. And so I'm just wrapping the paper around it. And that looks like it did pretty good. And then I'm going to pinch the paper, and I'm going to go in between on the behind the threads. And this is little detail stuff. Like, you don't have to do this, and you'll look at other people's pens, and they may or may not polish every little space. But I think by taking that little extra second, it'll make it look really good. So now I'm going to get to this. I'm doing the main body here. Dripping to wash off the whatever the grit. And I'm just gonna get it. I'm just sanding it smooth, making sure there's no lines from my tools. I'm not like polishing anything, that's gonna be the Zona. And then I do have a little space in the front, so I'm gonna do it this way. If I didn't have space here, I could actually turn the mandrel around. So when you look at our section mandrel, we have it like this. If you look at this end, it's actually an M10 by 1, which is this right here. So I could hold it this way and thread in the section, and then sand on the end. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. All right, so I'm good there. I grab my Zona. And I'm going to do kind of the same thing, at least for the first couple. I'm going to hit this area. So I'm just getting that tenon. Oh, it already looks shinier, which is worth it. And then I'm going to pinch and do behind it. You can probably see the white in the movie. And then now I can do the whole thing. We're knocking this out first because the next two pieces are going to look amazing. But you want this black section to be really shiny and just pop when you take it off. Although you could do a cool matte black.
I was about to say, like, I think that blank and black would look really cool in a matte finish.
They would look great in matte, but we're going to do polish on this one. Alright, so now I'm going to go through my Zona. I'm just going to do the main body here in the front. I'm not going to do the tenons. I think we're good with the first polish. Actually, we'll do the second. See if we want to get it up. Just the tenon. And you can see I'm not spending much time, huh?
I was telling Brian, go look at that because I got around in my drawer and he was upset because of the thunderstorms in there.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to move through these pretty quick. If anybody's going to SWAT that's doing a kit list this week, bring it to SWAT so we can see it.
Oh yeah, everybody who's gonna come hang out, bring something to show up. Dennis asked, how many times can you use the zone paper before you replace it?
Oh, good question. So you might have noticed this look used. I was using this set yesterday. I use it for, I always used to say 5 or 6 pens, but what I mean is 5 or 6 pieces. So like if you're doing a kit pen, I would do it for 5 or 6 parts, like bodies. So if it's a cap and body, I would count that as 2. 5 or 6, it tends to wear out. But you can definitely get a few out of it, and I would do at least 5. Oh, after I turn this down, I'm like, why is it getting hot? Going too fast. There we go. Should have noticed it was wound up. You can turn faster. You just gotta like keep it moving. Look at how shiny this black. This is our black pearl top choice. We use this a ton. I make most of my samples and test stuff out of this black pearl, which is great because then if something works, I've got a cool black pearl pen, or at least a black pearl part. So this was a little black pearl chunk that was laying here because I use it all the time, and that's why Amy grabbed it. But look at the shine it's already getting.
TJ is here. He said,
What's up,
late
TJ?
as usual. And I said, okay, good.
We're about to do the good part, the body and the cap.
Also, Ken is taking out for the night, and he says, before I go, you really need to give a thumbs up. Easy to do.
Hey, thanks, Ken.
I
That's
endorse
awesome.
that message. Thank you, Ken.
Yeah, thumbs up somehow helps the videos and things go. So definitely, if you can help us do that, that's awesome.
Jim has a question. Polishing the internal threads? Question mark. I just started felt cone struggle and noticed fine compound other ways.
Like the internal, like clear, or internal threads.
He said threads. Polish internal threads.
I mean, so if you mean threads, let us know. I don't like to sand the threads a lot. I usually touch them with like 1000 grit because I don't like sharp points on my threads, but you also don't want to sand away your threads. So you can polish the tenon before you put your tap or die to it. But as far as once they're already threads, I don't really do much with polishing. I might just touch them just to take off the sharpness. Like see right there, I'm hitting it with the white, but that's it. Now I am going to take some ring blade, which is like a cleaner, polisher, whatever. And I'm going to take a drop here. And I'm just going to just give it some shine. All right. And that's where the ring bling was. You don't want to put it on the dry spot. You'll take away what you did. All right. What's up?
Oh, I was saying Kristen is really shy. He says, how long till the starter set is restocked? I think we're waiting on tap die holders, right?
Yes, so a couple of things with that. Good question. The starter set has always had the niche tailstock holder tap die. However, we're having a hard time getting restocked. So I'm looking at other options for you guys. One, stuff we might be able to carry and maybe not. Maybe we'll just refer you if we find a good place. But I don't know yet. So I need to take this off. I already told you I was asking for trouble by leaving this section on. Alright, so we are going to have a starter set. Probably how we're going to do it going forward is we'll have enough to make whatever pen it is. So M13, M10, Yo06. We'll have all the taps and dies, mandrels, etc. In there with drill bits, but not with the niche set because you won't need the niche set every time. You only need it once. And that way it's like you can kind of see what you need. It's on our cheat sheets of what you can use. But if you want to switch to a new size pen, you don't necessarily want to buy all the stuff. So the starter sets will be kind of broken down a little bit. And I think it'll be better for you. We'll see. But we are getting restocked next week on taps and dies. So they are on the way. If you missed it at the beginning, we got nibs today, like an hour ago. Well, it's longer than an hour now. It is an hour ago, like an hour.
Reese says, I start hitting my threads with Zona from third grit up. It doesn't remove a ton of material, but it polishes the edges enough.
Yep. That's awesome. That's a good tip, Reese. I like to do that. You just got to be careful, and I wouldn't recommend it maybe on the first pen you make, but once you get into it and start going forward, you'll dig it. Okay, here's our cap. This is kaleidoscope, and this is going to look awesome. So I'm going to first hit it with this, I think it's like 800, and I'm going to do the end. And keep it wet. I do everything wet because I believe two things. One, it keeps the dust from building in your sandpaper, so the sandpaper will not only last longer, but it'll work better. And then two, it keeps the dust out of the air so you're not breathing, which is probably the most important. All right, so I like to do that end and then come do the cap end because I don't want to forget. So I'm gonna fold this down, polish that up. Okay. Now I can do the whole body, which is the fun part. It's funny to hear that. I'll put my mic up here, but I mean, this is 800. It sounds like it's so abrasive, but compared to Zona paper, it is. So a lot of times you'll see me with my fingers like this, my finger calipers, just kind of testing it. And what I'm doing is feeling for any imperfections, because the slightest little, let's say there was a bubble or a little chip in the resin or a little whatever. Sometimes you can't feel it when it's static, but when it's spinning, you can feel it. So by just always like touching it like this, I can always feel if there's imperfection. It's kind of cool. All right, you guys want to take a peek at this first or not yet? Oh, we do. Amy, did you already claim this pen? We could take a swat if anyone wants to see it.
Earlier, yeah, we'll take a swat. Earlier, I'll ink it. I lost my train of thought.
Earlier.
I don't know, I was thinking about that. I'll go do a little reel of it.
The kaleidoscope.
Yeah. TJ says I started putting a few drops of Dawn in the water
Yeah.
when I'm wet sanding. I feel like it captures the grit and pulls it away.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like it takes tension off the water surface as well, so it lets the grit sink or the grit sink. But I also think if you do get it like on your papers and stuff, it kind of acts like a lube.
Yeah,
'Cause it's like,
he says not having to go as high in grit to get a good polish.
yeah, I think it does help. Oh, I meant to stop it after the sand. Here's the first. So that's through Zona Green, which is 800.
600.
Is it green 8 or is it 6? So there's kaleidoscope. Now you can start to see all the colors. And I'll hold this up to the other camera in a minute, but it's crazy. Crazy good colors.
Yeah, that is really great. Probably one of the most popular colors.
Is it? If you want to make kit lists, yeah, it's newer. If you want to make kit lists from our top choice blanks, here's the first two to try. Kaleidoscope, and then molten metals. And then if you want to go further, Hot Wheels and Hurricane. But they're great for kit lists because they have clear. Here's a Hurricane I'm working on. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a bunch of clear in it. You can almost see through the cap. So that's Hurricane. Pretty cool stuff. I think what we should do is next week when we're at Buc-ee's, we'll get some Buc-ee's snacks that only Buc-ee's has, and we'll do like a live stream and like give away some Buc-ee's nuggets or something. That'd be fun. Cause they're pretty good.
We are taking the, I'll like bring them back and then
Maybe
check
ship
them
them.
out at swap. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, if it's not free, it's a swap. Or experience the
Buc-ee's.
amazing buttons.
Yeah.
Well, if we can get a bunch and then we can stick with the shipping fee.
Yeah.
Last time we had like a bunch of buttons in it.
Well, last time we we made the mistake. We got them on the way out, didn't we?
Yeah, I think so.
We need to get on the way down so
Yeah.
we can put it in the crate for the way back. And then we can put them in orders. Or we can do
I love that.
raffles here.
Yeah. That's great. I love that.
Alright, we're almost there, people. Alright, Amy, tell a joke or something while we're doing the sanding because it's so boring.
What is Mario, like Super Mario's favorite fruit? Banana.
Oh, great. We probably just. Is Myra here? Because it seems like.
That's legitimately like one of my favorites. No, Myra and Jamie are missing from the chat, so the chat is like a lot more eager.
It's very proper, huh?
Very proper, very eager. We do have Homer Lex in there giving and riff raff.
Oh, good. Make sure you hit the ends when you're doing this because it's easy to forget. So I'm wrapping it around the front and the back. Alright, last one. This is our white, it's like 20,000 grit. Uh-oh. So it's hard to tell which side is what from the white. And we will be doing CA demos at SWAT with Zona. So if you're wanting to watch, we'll put it on live. But you can also, if you're there, you can also come see the person. Because CA with the Zona is awesome.
Alright, Lisa Marie from Four Leaf People has a joke. What do you call Batman and Robin after they've been run over by a steamroller?
Batman and Robin after they run over by a steamroller? I feel like I should have an answer, but I don't. Anyone else have an answer? Give it a minute. So a little ring lighting on the kaleidoscope. Alright.
Flat man and ribbon.
Now that's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay.
I'm just like thinking of like,
I know, it's like it should be something.
holy something Batman.
Okay, so here's the polished and the non-polished for reference. Let's hold it up to this camera.
That was awesome.
So take a look at that.
Lisa Marie, when are you making your first pin?
So it's probably hard, and I don't want to like get it so close you can't see. But there's so many colors in the kaleidoscope. You wouldn't even guess that there's green and yellow and whatever down in there. So that's the first one. One more, guys. Hang in there with me. We're gonna put through this body, and then we can assemble it. Oh yeah, you need to switch. Then we will have a finished fountain pen. We got it. It's coming.
Hey,
Oh, Danny's here?
huh?
Danny's here?
Vinny?
Oh, goody.
And Brian's back with his dog.
Oh, is this dog wanting to see her new fitness?
Yes. And sweet comfort.
Good to hear, good to hear. Our dog, so Dexter, he's 14, we've had him the whole time. He used to not care about anything, storms or anything. Man, now he gets real scared with thunder and lightning.
But in all
I think it's because he can't hear. So the loud noise is like, what's that?
No, in all fairness, he used to storm more, and now aren't they ever storms?
Once a year, once every other year.
Mel and Wednesday are just hybrid, and then Mel and Wednesday are just hybrid, and then I was like, wait, no, that color won't be the same.
Hybrid.
Um,
There's a,
sorry, Jim, the top choice blanks will be on sale, but
They just were.
will be. But
We'll do
not-
top choice again soon.
Well, we'll do top choice.
See, this one had a little chatter at the end, so I'm trying to figure it out.
Brian from TC Bushing in the house.
What's up, Brian? Now it's so
I was
long.
saying I like the back avenue because they're like dark.
Yeah.
They're like darker.
So this is a long body, right? So I don't want to just push on it. So what I'm trying to do, if you notice, I got my thumb on the back side. I'm trying to push kind of equally, like almost pinch with my finger and my thumb. And then the finger is the one holding the sandpaper. I mean, I could just push on it, but I risk having it get out of shape faster.
Larry Olson from Mesquite, Nevada, here late.
What's
You
up,
came
Larry?
just in time, Larry, to see the cool finish.
Yeah, almost there. Yeah, almost there. Feels pretty good. This end feels pretty good. I think it's gonna look good with the shape. That end a little bit. Yeah, it looks pretty nice. Alright, I think we're good. Let's buzz through this. See, and it's funny because if you're doing matte, you could stop short and not have to do all this. And most people charge more for matte, but it's actually less steps, so it's kind of funny.
So for everybody, Jake says, Jamie isn't here, he's fired.
Well, he's probably sleeping. Isn't it like midnight? And
It's like very,
isn't it like 8 or 9 hours ahead?
Yes.
Maybe more.
it's like probably 9.
Hey Jake, I watched your day in the life of Jake video. I had to watch it in 2 segments because I had to go to dinner one night, but I watched both parts. It was good. I think you need to come out here and do a day in the life at Turner's, and you can document it with us. It'll be fun.
That would be fun, actually. It'd be funny. Because Chad just runs around everywhere all day.
There's days where I'm like, my feet hurt, and then I go, oh yeah, I did sit down today once.
Middle of the steps and
I have a bad habit of putting my lunch in the microwave and then finding it the next day. Which you wouldn't think so, but
what Gary finds it.
yeah. That was the old days when it was just me and Carrie. She'd go to make lunch the next day. She'd be like, whose burrito is this? And I'm like, dang, I forgot it.
Hey, Jake says, I won't say no.
There you go. Be fun.
It's totally come, Jake.
I should see what we got going on out here. I mean, this is the Wild West though, Jake. I don't know if you can handle it. You're from Texas. This is the rough country.
The funniest thing is when you're in Arizona and then Texans say that they're from the Southwest. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
What?
More like the East West.
It's really funny.
Well, that's SWAT, Southwest.
I got it.
Association
No,
of
I know.
Trainers.
It's so funny though to Arizonans. Like I got into a whole conversation about it with Jim Hines because he was like, if you're west of the Mason-Dixon line, then it's west. And I was like, it's kind of central. And like in Arizona, we don't think of Texas as being the Southwest. But then if you're in West Texas, they're like, no, it's the Southwest. It's funny. Or like Midwest, we're like, that's not west.
Yeah,
It's funny.
Midwest is definitely not West.
Well, but Midwest would make more sense than Southwest. I don't know. Anyway, it's real.
I mean, I barely think of us as Southwest. It's more like New Mexico is like Southwest because of the vibe of the like culture and stuff.
Well, like southern Utah, Arizona, New Mexico. It's like the four corners.
Yeah.
Jake says I don't get it either. Yes, vindication. From
Yep,
my
yep. almost there. Almost there, guys.
Barry says 3-day old.
It happened.
Oh, she also says yes, you did some very creative.
Oh yeah, this pen is gonna look good. I can see the colors through the spinning.
Central. See, Jake says it's central.
Yeah, central. So it's cool when you see a pen spinning and you can see all the colors flashing. And you couldn't see them a minute ago when it wasn't sanded or polished, but now it's starting to show through.
That's what I had coworkers in California getting with me when I referred to Colorado as being bad.
That's fun. I love Colorado, it's just too expensive.
Brian, where are you at? DC Bushing? Where's Brian from?
I think he's back east somewhere. I don't know where.
He says that he didn't.
That's probably like Ohio? West Virginia?
He
Virginia?
said West Virginia. Now the sun will be stuck in my head.
Maybe he's in West Virginia or Virginia. Alright, last one.
Someone told me, maybe it was Carrie, that they put West Virginia in that just because it sounded good.
Yeah, I saw the guy who sang that song and he said it just flowed with the the sound of the West Virginia. Like he's like, I've never been to West Virginia at the time. And it's funny because West Virginia sure latched onto that. Alright, there she is. White Zona done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna toss those Zonas because that was the end. Try that thing off. Oh yeah, look at that. See if you can see it show up. The body is super colorful. Now if you remember, this may be hard to remember, but when I drilled the cap, my lathe was not lined up, so I actually drilled a second cap. And I used the body, so this was out of a second blank that I had laying here, but not necessarily the same batch. But they still look pretty great together, but it's actually not the same piece, even though I thought it was. Maybe, oh no, maybe this was the same piece. I don't know. Either way. Alright, let's take a look here.
Or is
Alright.
that Mexican? Is that Mexico City? Is CDMX Mexico City? Mexico City?
I don't know. Okay, now let's throw a nib in here and a section on here. Normally I would not do this because I want to put this in this ultrasonic cleaner because what's crazy is you think it's clean, you look at it and then you put a magnifying glass on it, it's packed with dust and threads. So be real careful of when you put everything together and you have not cleaned it. You get stuff stuck. So I'm going to real gently put in the nib. I'm not going to thread it in hard. I'm just going to stop there because I've not cleaned the threads. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Put the glasses so I can see it. Actually, let me put a little WD here from long enough. Because of the dust, huh?
Roman said I can serve.
See, the threads inside are probably dusty. The threads in the section are probably dusty, but there we go. It looks killer with there it is. The black section does look really good. Nice job. Nice choices, Amy, with the black section. That was your idea.
Well, wasn't it because the first one broke or something?
No, it's because I remember I had to drill the cap again
Oh,
twice. Now we could have still done the kaleidoscope section.
Oh, sorry, Jamie just sent pictures today.
Oh no.
But
Quick, shut everything down. Jamie's
You're
here.
too late, Jamie. Jim Spalding is number one.
Kill everything. Jamie's here. Get out of here. Just kidding.
Brian's like, Jake fired you.
Yeah, we've got some bad news. Your employment has been terminated. Your friendship has been terminated. Yeah, right.
It looks so good.
So I can't remember, maybe this is or isn't, but you can tell the colors all work really well. How does that show up on the camera? Can you see the colors or no? Maybe if I get
Hey, Patrick wants to know what ultrasonic cleaner do you use? Jake's settling down. Wait, are you talking to me?
Oh no, Amy, did you just get fired by Jake? What ultrasonic cleaner I use? I have two. This weird rounded one I've had for like 15 years. And then I have like a little square boxy Vivor one. That was pretty inexpensive. They both work great. I probably use the Vivor one more because it's next to my sink. The other one's in the bathroom. But it doesn't really matter. Keep the water clean. Don't leave it for weeks and weeks if you're using it a lot. Keep the water clean because that'll obviously play a role in it. And I will put a little bit of soap or a little tiny splash of Simple Green in it, and I find it helps a lot. Kind of like earlier with the tension in the water. It just helps the sediment like break up and go, and then clean out the thing and wipe it really good every time you rinse it. But what do you guys think? Huh?
Sorry, I'm interrupting you. That blank is kaleidoscope. I was gonna put it in the chat, but I was like, I don't know if I know how to spell kaleidoscope.
The blank is kaleidoscope. Everyone go ahead and spell kaleidoscope in the chat. Let's see how crazy it gets. I can only give you like the first two letters. K-A. K-A-L-I-D.
Also,
I-E-S-C-O-P-E.
Jamie super chatted for his tardiness.
Dang it, Jamie. Don't super chat. Hey, on a side note,
Carrie says I'm gonna steal that pen.
if you watch Jake's videos, go back like 6 years. He went to England and hung out with Jamie. You got to go watch the video. It's really cool. They go to Stonehenge. Highly recommend. Is that the first time you guys met, or did you guys know each other before that?
I wanna go do that video.
With Jamie, I'm sure he'll meet us at the airport.
Hey.
Cool pen. What do you guys think? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Jamie says I've been fired loads of times. I'll be rehired again on Friday.
Like Saturday morning.
Carrie says I'm gonna steal that pen.
Yeah, that's good.
Brand asks, do you only use the ultrasonic cleaner for kitless pens?
No, not at all. I use the ultrasonic cleaner all the time. I mean, I don't put like kit parts in there because you usually don't have anything to clean, but I put tools in there all the time that I want to clean. If I make something, because we try to really make stuff we need here, because, not to go off on a tangent, but I feel like we as a society just buy everything. So like the other day, Daniel needed a part for something we were doing on CNC, and I was like, we could go buy that. And I was like, no, we could make it. We have all the tools. So we like made some parts, no big deal. You can throw them in there and clean them up, oil them down, and they're good to go. So I use it all the time for all kinds of stuff. We used to clean 3D prints in there when we used water-based, so it's good for that, and whatever you need.
Legitimately, tons of people know how to spell kaleidoscope.
Oh, so it's just
that.
us.
Also, Brad
Well,
says K-Li-Da.
K-Li. I mean, I barely have a high school education, so don't quote me on kaleidoscope.
That's
Right?
not true.
Amy is the smart one in the bunch.
That's not true.
It's practically.
Jim Spalding said it smelled like this. P-R-E-T-T-Y. That's awesome. Chris Souza says a drop of ammonia will also help break water tension.
Ammonia, yep. So, quick thing, in gold mining, if you ever watch gold mining or do any gold mining, when they're doing like sluice box and things, they'll put stuff that recirculates, they'll put a drop of soap or like stuff for your spa conditioner, and that breaks the tension as well and lets things fall when it's getting stirred up constantly, because you don't want like dirty water getting into your pumps, and it helps the dirt settle. So it works similarly in this. You just don't want to have it mess up your colors if it's like a chemical. So use something natural and harmless.
Jamie says he will come pick us up from the airport.
See, I knew he would.
Also, Charles
Oh, Charles.
gives you a thumbs up, which is good because Charles poured that blank. So
Way to go, way to go.
gotta have that.
There's a nice close up. Looks nice and dark in that shot. Oh, there we go. That's bluer.
Charles says I like to use the ultrasonic cleaner for inlaying before going to final scan.
Yeah, you can use the ultrasonic cleaner for a lot. I would say this cautionary thing, don't get a giant one because they make them like this big. And unless you have a need for that, it sucks to like empty them and do all that stuff. The one I have has a valve I can empty, but I also can just tip it over.
See, there's us. He made me feel better. He said we all use the autoscope feature on the computer.
We did.
I feel like it isn't in the YouTube chat. Is that real? I don't know.
It might be. So here's what I turned yesterday, and I didn't try to make them the same, but I was just thinking they look very similar. They're almost, this one's a little longer and a little tiny bit boxier. But that kaleidoscope, man, boom.
Daniel says Chad just made that difference. Quiet.
I did not make the nib, so there are some things I cannot do.
All
I
right.
mean,
We have a very important question.
upgrade.
Will you be doing a clip on a kitless pen after swap?
Yeah, we'll do that. So, yes.
Another question.
Yes.
Will you be doing internal polishing on one on the live stream after swap?
Yeah, sure. We will. We're also going to, I want to make a kit list from our music notes blank. Remember I showed you that last week or the week before? And I want to make a kit list out of it because one, I think it'll look awesome as a kit list. And two, with it being black and white, I think it would look awesome with black caps on each end. Like to top and bottom finials. And because the blank is cast all the way through, obviously if you cut it off, you're going to have the cast marks. So you can't just have that as your top of your cap. But I also think it would look better with black and white like a tuxedo because it's a white. What's up?
Mike dances with Argard says come to Birmingham in the UK and we can make an event. Well, I know, that's why I said, what? That's super cool.
All right. Any other questions related to
If we go
this
there,
stuff?
we 100% have to go to the Birmingham. That
Oh.
sounds super fun.
I can't wait. We're supposed to go over there and see Record Power one day, so maybe we can maybe we can get it to all the different cool places. I mean, the UK is so small; it'd be like driving across Arizona to get everywhere. So it would be a big deal.
That's legit. Mike Homer like says the backwards music notes blank because as he pointed out, that one is like a mess up, so it's super rare and very valuable.
So that's a one of one because the others were trashed, and I had turned that one down before we realized it was backwards. I turned it to see how that would turn. So that's the only one that's still here.
Like when a bill gets printed, it's like
Yeah.
valuable.
Years ago, I made a Lincoln card pen with his face upside down, and it became quite popular amongst a few people that wanted it. It was error.
Terry says I'm coming on this.
All right, y'all.
I approve that.
Approve this message. Any other questions before we
Terry
go?
says I don't care if this is like
Everybody, thanks for hanging out. These the last 2 weeks and this one, if you put them all together, you're probably talking less than 3 hours of actually making something. If you take out my stopping to chitter chatter, probably like 2 hours you could make a kitless pen.
first time?
First time?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, honestly, once you get this down, you can probably make one in 45 minutes. You'll spend more time polishing than everything else. Like I can do all the drilling, tapping, all that in about 20 minutes now, but I spend more time on the polishing than all the rest. Usually, not on the live stream. All right. Any other things before we go? Did I forget anything?
Jamie says he's got room for 3 people at his house.
Nice, Jamie. Thanks.
So we will be not.
Whoa, JP Woodward got number 1 again. How do you do that?
He came in and he swooped it up from Jim Spalding.
That guy knows how to be number 1.
Hey,
Does that make Jim Spalding his assistant since he's number 2? Assistant Jim?
super excited to see everybody at SWAT. If you are coming to say hi to us, please bring something to show off. I have the mic that one of you, maybe Anita, sent, and we're gonna do silly interviews with people and get their show offs if they don't get it. But we thought that'd be really fun. And
So before SWAT,
no live stream next week because we're going.
these are going to SWAT, but they won't look like this. I got a little work to do. Look at this blank. Can anyone see how crazy this is? The whole tree was like this. We're taking a bunch of these to SWAT. Look at the waves.
Homer likes this, just trying to hold on to number 3.
I'm just clinging to my number 3 status.
Yeah, if you guys don't follow us on the socials, go follow us on the socials because most of the shenanigans from SWAT, like I'll be putting a bunch of it on Instagram. So I'm gonna try and take lots of pictures and do lots of video clips, and it'll be good fun. So that way, if you can't go, you can like kind of come along with us
Yeah,
in the stuff that I sent.
absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Shocking, right? Jim says he bought it, Chad.
What? Who bought what?
And then Jamie is doing tiny life.
That's fine.
Yeah, so come follow us. Did you say anything about the movements? Yes.
These are all getting turned before I leave, so I got a little work. I got 2 acacia, 3 sisu. This one's kind of cool. A 10, an 8, and a 6. Or 7, maybe. And then an 8 and a 7.
I also want to go do
Cool, gnarly here.
other thing that you did. And if you guys want to get full blanks, I'll wait till next Wednesday.
Yes, do not buy bowl blanks today. Next Wednesday, when we're not here, next Wednesday will be the bowl blank day.
All right. Everybody is awesome.
All right.
Love you guys.
Thanks, everybody. Let us know if you need anything. We're out of here. Hold on one sec, Amy. All right, we're signing off YouTube. Whoa, camera going crazy. Oh, maybe.
I didn't know it was wrong.
No, it was down on the lathe. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Catch you next time.